Tonight, the Anro-Asia still aground off Caloundra, Bob Hawke on Israel, and Pakistan versus Queensland. This is National 9 News.
Good evening, Don Seccombe Paul Griffin in Brisbane. Queensland's Sunshine Coast is facing a crisis tonight. A huge oil slick from the grounded container ship Anro-Asia threatens to destroy its world-famous beaches. 8 kilometres of surf beach on the northern tip of Bribie Island has already been engulfed with fuel oil. The major spill is being contained by boom lines laid by the Port Authority. The authority hopes that forecast northeasterly winds will keep the slick clear of Caloundra's beaches, but local residents fear the oil could come in with the tide.
30 or 40 tonnes of oil spilled into the sea when 2 of the Anro-Asia's fuel tanks ruptured on impact. The damage to the vessel was more serious. Several water ballast tanks also ruptured. The crew of the ship immediately began transferring fuel from the ruptured tanks into those which were undamaged. But the operation could not be completed before a huge oil slick covered the area around the Anro-Asia. Port of Brisbane Authority officials say the slick looks worse than it is, but the wind and tide today quickly spread the oil over a wide area. Oil dispersant was brought in to try to break up the spill. Authorities say there have been far worse spills in the Brisbane River, and they should be able to cope well with this one. But today, 10-knot northeasterly winds were carrying the oil onto the beach. Late this morning, Harbour Submarine floated a boom across the bow of the Anro-Asia in an effort to contain the spill. But obviously, for this part of northern Bribie Island, it was too late. The spill already extends about 5 kilometres down the beach and looks like worsening.
Attempts to salvage the 16,000-tonne Anro-Asia appear to have been shelved until tomorrow morning. A salvage expert is flying in from Suva tonight, and he'll be taken straight to the ship. Salvage attempts will be delayed until he's made an assessment of the damage, but it's believed the ship will stay where she is for at least 3 days. At the moment, she's stuck fast, less than 200 metres from the beach at the northern end of Bribie Island, and only 800 metres south of Caloundra. The ship's bow is embedded in the sand, perhaps 2 metres from the surface, but the midships and stern are in deep water. It's not yet known how the fully laden ship managed to miss rounding the final buoy before ending up just south of the Pumice Stone Passage about 7:20 last night. It's reported that at least 7 ballast and fuel tanks ruptured when she grounded. The Anro-Asia is registered in Singapore and carries a 36-man crew. None were reported injured. The vessel was carrying a cargo of timber and mixed container items, according to the shipping agents Ned Lloyd Swire. She was on her way to Brisbane from Port Kelang in Malaysia. The 3 rescue tugs from Brisbane arrived early this morning and stood by, but made no attempt to move the stranded vessel. The incident is the most serious in Queensland waters since the Cherry Venture ran aground at Double Island Point in July 1973. She became a top tourist attraction, and going by the crowds which flocked to vantage points around Caloundra today, the Anro-Asia has the same pulling power. Tony Barnett, National 9 News.
Off Sweden, a Soviet sub is aground near the country's main Baltic naval base. Swedish officers, unarmed but covered by machine guns on nearby naval craft, boarded the sub today. They plan to take the commander off the submarine and interrogate him. Earlier in the day, the Swedes threatened to depth charge another unidentified sub inside territorial waters.
The submarine's commander looked distinctly uncomfortable this morning as Swedish boats encircled his stranded submarine to take pictures. The Russian captain will be interrogated by the Swedes and his logbook carefully examined. He claims a compass error caused him to lose his way. But with the submarine so close to their shores, the Swedes believe it was spying. It ran aground some 20 kilometres inside a restricted zone, just 10 kilometres from Sweden's Karlskrona naval base. The Swedish Premier demanded that Moscow give an explanation of what he called a gross violation of neutral Sweden's territory in a military base area. The Soviet ambassador was denied access to the stranded Russian crew and given little reassurance over the vessel's future. Just outside Swedish waters, a Russian salvage fleet gathered, but an attempt to rescue the sub was refused by the Swedes. 2 Soviet destroyers are in command of the fleet. In recent years, Sweden has often detected submarine intruders and sometimes threatened them with depth charges. But to have one captive now, even if only on a mud bank, the Swedes are determined to make as much diplomatic capital out of it as they can.
A serviceman has been killed in another helicopter crash during Kangaroo 81 in central Queensland. The Defence Department says an RAAF Iroquois chopper from No. 9 Squadron at Amberley went down at 2 o'clock this afternoon, 14 kilometres west of Samuel Hill Airfield in the Shoalwater Bay training area. There were 10 people on board and 1 was killed. The 9 survivors have been taken to the Army's field hospital at Marlborough. Their condition is not known. The spokesman said there was a fire at the scene of the crash. No other details are yet available. An Air Force pilot is missing after his Mirage fighter crashed off the Malaysian coast early today. A search has been mounted for the pilot, Clifford Simmons of Sydney. Bob Hawke says his family has been receiving death threats because of his pro-Israel feelings. Mr. Hawke broke down and cried in federal parliament last night after giving a powerful speech on Australia's participation in the Sinai Peace Force. When Mr. Hawke spoke about the incident today, he revealed that if he was leading the country, there would be circumstances when he would send troops to a Sinai force.
As Bob Hawke left Canberra today for Parliament's long summer recess, he said that his tears in federal Parliament last night had come when he was accused by a Liberal backbencher of selling out Israel, a country that he's long supported.
It is just an issue which for a very long time has affected me very deeply. It's affected not only myself, but it's been a cause of considerable personal discomfort and threat to my wife, to my children. And those things you just don't forget. And then when someone says in respect of a thing that's meant that much to you and to your family that you're betraying it, well, it's upsetting.
Many people expect you to become leader of the Labor Party. What do you think this issue is doing to your chances?
I don't know, and I don't care. I mean, it is the case that in the past, the strong stand I've taken on this issue has probably done me no good in the party. Well, it hasn't helped, but I just don't make judgments on that basis. I mean, if you are going to make judgments about issues of principle on that basis, I don't think you should be in politics.
Mr. Hawke also concedes that there are circumstances in which he would support a peacekeeping role for Australia.
If it became apparent to me that the process would break down, that our participation was essential, then I would favour making a decision and trying as hard as I possibly could to make the Australian people understand why that was necessary.
Final details of Australia's commitment to the Sinai are expected to be announced soon. Peter Harvey, Canberra.
Next in National 9 News, more industrial problems at Ford's Broadmeadows plant, and in Welsh, Diana says thank you to Wales.
Hi, let me show you something. These pressure pumps have the same horsepower, but this one actually gives you bonus gallons. That's more water for less power. And here's the reason. This new improved jet in Venturi is yet another important innovation in pressure pump technology from Onga. More water per hour and higher pressure from the same motor. Another way to conserve energy. Onga, the masters of innovation. See your Onga pump shop for more water and higher pressure.
Hi, favourite neighbour.